Hello and welcome to Jazz Guitar Chord-melody, Part 65. Hi, I'm Mike Hayes and you've just been listening to what musicians often refer to as the Sears Roebuck Bridge. And what they're referring to is the chord progression for the B section of I Got Rhythm. Now there's many variations to this bridge and we'll be covering quite a few of them later on in this video. In our last session, we were creating a chord melody arrangement using the basic set of chords of the tune I Got Rhythm, and we were using these chords as a background template. In the previous video, we were working on the first 4 bars of the A section of I Got Rhythm. So without any further ado, let's get to work on bars 5, 6, 7 and 8 of the A section. Firstly, my melody notes for bar 5, I'm playing C, D, B flat, and then another B flat right at the end of bar 5. Traditionally in bar 5, the basic set of chords would be 2 beats of C and 2 beats of C7. Under my first melody note, I'm going to play a C6 chord, then I'm just going to play the note D as a single note. Now under the B flat, I'm actually going to play a B flat 6th chord. And this is a concept that we spoke about on an earlier video, where if we played a major 6th chord on the 7th of a dominant, we would produce a dominant 9th suspended 4th. So the original chord here was C7th. The 7th note of C7th is B flat. When I play a B flat 6th chord here, I'm creating the effect of a C9 suspended 4th. Over to bar 6, and my melody notes are A, G sharp, A flat, G. There's also one other G that's really like a syncopated effect. It's really part of bar 7, but it's coming in a half a beat earlier. I'll speak about that in a moment. Now with regard to the chords, I'm going to stick pretty close to the original chords. Under the A note, I'm going to play an F6th. I'm going to leave the notes G sharp and A as separate notes. When I get to the A flat, I'm going to play an F minus 6th under the A flat. Let's have a listen to how these 2 bars sound. Now over to bar 7. Actually, throughout bars 7 and 8, I'm only playing the one note, G. I'm playing it several times, but it's the one pitched note. And because it's just this one single note, I want to create some additional interest in the underlying voices in each chord. Now remember we said there's an anticipated note, a syncopated note, the note G, which is played right at the end of bar 6. For the moment, we're just going to ignore that note and we're going to break the tie between that G note that carries over from bar 6 to bar 7. So we're just going to ignore the ties and everything. Let's have a look at bar 7. For our discussion, I'm just going to treat this initially as 4 G notes. In the original set of chords, the chord would be C in this bar. What I'm going to do is again use a concept that we've discussed earlier. I'm going to play a major 6th on the 5th. In this instance, the chord would have been C or C6 as it might have been. I'm going to play a G6 chord. And when we play a major 6th on the 5th, we produce a major 9th sound. So the effect that I'm after here is a C major 9th sound. And I'm achieving that by playing a G6 over the sound of a C in the bass. Still in bar 7, the next chord would have been A minor. I'm going to play a B flat diminished here, and what I'm doing is changing the flavour of the original set of chords. The bass will still be playing the note A. The effect of this B flat diminished over the A will create the effect of an A7 flat 9. So the flavour has changed from a minor sound, an A minor or an A minor 7th. The effect that I'll be creating here is that of an A7 flat 9. And again we have this syncopated sound. If we look right to the end of the bar, we'll see a note G, and again it's a syncopated note coming in a fraction earlier from bar 8. In bar 8, the original set of chords from the vanilla changes would most likely have been D minor or D minor 7. I'm actually playing a C6th here. Considering that the bass player will be playing the note D, the effect that we'll be creating here is that of a D minor 11th. And now for the second chord in bar 8, it would have been G or G7th. And what I'm doing here is playing a G7 flat 9. Let's have a listen to bars 7 and 8. Now that we've got bars 5, 6, 7 and 8 up and running, let's add that together with the first 4 bars that we did the work on in the last session. So here's the first 8 bars using the basic template of chords for I Got Rhythm. Here goes. Okay, since we're basing our chord melody arrangement on the tune I Got Rhythm, we'll also follow the same song form for that tune. I Got Rhythm is a 32-bar AABA song form. Since we've just completed the first 8 bars, we'll label that as A1. The next section, A2, will consist of the first 6 bars that we've just played with what we call a second time ending. And this is where the melody just changes slightly to lead us into the B section. The melody notes that I'll be playing for the first bar in my second time ending, which would be bar 15 in the arrangement, is a series of G notes, the only change being the note C as the very last note in that bar. Once again, when the bass player plays the A note in this bar, I'll be playing a B flat diminished over the A note to produce an A7 flat 9. Under that last note, the note C, I'll be playing an F6 chord. Now on to bar 16, and I have 2 more C melody notes. I'll be playing a C diminished under the first C note, followed by a C6 under the last C note. Let's have a listen to how bars 15 and 16 sound. Okay, it's review time. So before we get to work on the B section, let's have a listen to A1 and A2 so we get a full picture of where we are up to this point. Right then, let's start work on the B section of I Got Rhythm. Now the B section, or the bridge section of I Got Rhythm, is often referred to as the Sears Roebuck Bridge, and it's named after the Sears Roebuck chain of department stores. The basic framework of I Got Rhythm became very popular in the 30s and was used as a vehicle for many jazz tunes in the 50s, 60s, and of course it's everywhere now. Over the years, musicians have developed nicknames for certain chord progressions. That makes it easy to communicate their ideas to other musicians. Because the chord changes in I Got Rhythm became so popular and that they were everywhere, the reason why this bridge is referred to as the Sears Roebuck Bridge is referring to the fact that the Sears Roebuck stores were everywhere when this came out first, and it was referring to this particular set of chords that's found in the bridge of I Got Rhythm, how it was found in many popular songs of the day. Okay, let's have a look at what the basic set of chords would be in the Sears Roebuck Bridge. The bridge is 8 bars long, and a good way to remember how to find the root note for the first chord in your bridge is that if you look for the major third of the key you're in. Now at the moment we're working in the key of C, therefore the major third of C is E. Now a particular feature of this bridge is that in its basic form it's a series of dominant seventh chords moving at the rate of 2 bars at a time. So let's see what we've got so far. We're working in the key of C in the A sections of I Got Rhythm. When we move to the B section, we begin on an E seventh chord. And this is played for 2 bars. Then the progression continues to work its way around the circle of fifths in an anti-clockwise manner. Remember we said that each chord is played for 2 bars. So that's E seventh for 2 bars, A seventh, moving to D seventh, then finally finishing on G seventh for 2 bars. And of course the fact that we're finishing on G seventh is ideal because that leads our ear back to the key of C for the next A section. This type of cycle progression using a series of secondary dominant chords is also referred to as the ragtime progression. I'm going to keep this set of chords at the top of the screen at the moment while we have a look at some popular variations. Here's the first variation, and you can see what's happening here. Instead of having a series of dominant seventh chords being played for 2 bars at a time, we're moving through a series of 2 5s. So instead of having 2 bars of E seventh, a sense of movement is created by moving from a B minor 7 to an E7 flat 9. And this is the way this particular variation moves right throughout the bridge. In bar 3 of the bridge we have an E minor 7 moving to an A7 flat 9. Again a 2-5 progression. On to bars 5 and 6 of the bridge, A minor 7 to D7 flat 9. Again another 2-5 progression. And in the last 2 bars of the bridge we have D minor 7 to G7 flat 9. Once again a 2-5 progression. Here's another popular variation using the flat 5 concept. The first 2 bars remain as E7, then in bars 3 and 4 we're moving to E flat 7. E flat is the flattened fifth of A, therefore E flat 7 is the flat 5 substitution for A7. In bars 5 and 6, the D7th remains the same. In the last 2 bars of the bridge, we're moving to D flat 7. Once again, this is the flattened fifth of G7. Now these are just some of the many popular variations that musicians use when they're composing or playing on the rhythm changes. We'll be covering a lot more in greater detail in the next video. We'll be looking at progressions in the A section and variations that they use there, as well as continuing our work on the B section. Just to break things up a little bit, I'm going to play a chord melody arrangement that I've written to work over the changes that you see on the screen at the moment. And this, of course, is another variation of our bridge for I Got Rhythm. Here goes. Well, that's all we've got time for in this session. If you enjoyed this lesson and want to see more, please consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps me out and ensures you don't miss out on any future lessons. If you have any questions or comments, don't forget to pop them in the comments section below this video. And as always, I look forward to catching up with you again next time. Bye for now.